my name is Ellie Benson, and I did my big board presentation on the effects of past countercultures over the past 5 decades and their effects on future mainstreams. So first, how did I think of my topic? I've always kind of had an interest for pop culture and fashion because, one, in today's world, it's something we're all really surrounded by, different forms of media, music, art, fashion, etc. And I've always really enjoyed fashion. I plan to do something with it when I'm older. And next, what research did I do to start with this? Well, first, I noticed that the clothes my mom wore when she was a kid were some very similar to what I was wearing today, and some were very different. So I kind of started there as to past runway trends, future runway trends, current runway trends, etc. And kind of looking up what clothing trends had come back again. And then this led me to music, and music that had followed a similar pattern of once not being very popular and then coming back and being popular, which then finally led me to music festivals as to the clothing and the music, and just the idea of music festivals in general, and how all of this followed the same pattern. And I learned that this was all started by youth movements. Each of these patterns, the youth movements would start a trend, it wouldn't really be popular, then over time it would evolve into something that was popular. So with my paper, I kind of wanted to focus on why. What was making this evolution occur? And what I found was, well, first, before I get into my paper, I think we should learn the definition to 3 really key terms. The first being counterculture, which is a group of people that try to separate themselves from the norm due to different beliefs, values, traditions, etc. that they have. Next, we have mainstream. These are attitudes, ideas, or activities regarded as normal. And lastly, we have pop culture, which is different forms of art such as music, fashion, that follow ideas of love, charisma, mystery, etc. And it can be shown as I said, popular music, fashion, art, etc. So now, the answer to my question I found was that the counterculture over the past 5 decades has continuously evolved into mainstream trends of fashion and music through the commercialization of counterculture trends. So, this can first be seen with music, as music begins in one generation as a part of the counterculture, then over time evolves into a mainstream. This can first be seen with rock and roll music, which was started by a rebellious youth group in the United States and the United Kingdom, and this form of music kept being embraced as this youth movement grew older, and then these youth movements who are now adults began to commercialize this form of music. This can also be seen with the artist Bob Dylan and the genre of rap. This is significant because it demonstrates how quickly a voice of resistance, such as this rebellious youth group, can be commercialized and sold to the mainstream as a now huge form of music, rock and roll. Businesses, they discover that they can profit from something, so they take it and commercialize it. So some say that this commercialization isn't bad though, because it's what people want to hear. Even though it's what someone may want to hear, it's important that they know the meaning behind it, and the commercialization simply just drowns out any meaning that this form of music or form of pop culture once had. It's important to show significance of counterculture because it expresses the critiques of mainstream culture that's necessary for growth. Next, we have music festivals. So, music festivals are huge nowadays and are only planned to get bigger and bigger. But over time, a change of who goes to them, why people go to them, and what happens at them has occurred. It's not popular among the masses. Music festivals first started with Woodstock in August of 1969, a festival I'm sure you've all heard of. And it was to celebrate the beliefs and distance people from the mainstreams of society in this time. Although after this, music festivals disappeared for a while and then were reintroduced in the 90s with Austin City Limits, Bonnaroo, Coachella, Lollapalooza, music festivals I'm sure that you've all heard of or maybe even attended. And they became a money-making business. They were made for the mainstream to come socialize, listen to their favorite music that they hear on the radio live. Some say, though, that the reason for people going to these never really changed. And this is true looking at it from a broad spectrum. People came, listened to their favorite music, were with their friends. Although narrowing in, you find that this isn't true because then during Woodstock they were celebrating the rejection from society, whereas today it's society coming together and a huge corporation hosting this, which was the total opposite of Woodstock. They were anti-corporation. The festivals themselves today will continue to thrive, and the commercialization of these festivals makes it so people want to go to them, but it's unprofitable for the mainstream. But it's important to notice the true underlying meaning of these music festivals as you go and attend them. Lastly, we have fashion. So, fashion changes from generation to generation. Over the past 5 decades, almost every trend has been repeated. But I'm sure this is not a surprise to any of you because you're the ones wearing these trends, and I'm sure that some of you are wearing them right now. So the fashion industry found it easy to reintroduce older, edgier trends as something that the public will now enjoy with a new staple piece with an edgy twist. And now it's enjoyed among the masses. The commercialization, though, of these products and of these old trends drowns out the meaning or the original intention of them. This can first be seen with the army jacket, which was an ironic piece worn by counterculture movements in the 60s to symbolize that they were against war and symbolize peace. But now, the classic staple piece that I'm sure many of you own in your closet. This can also be seen with the popular trends of grunge, Doc Marten boots, and combat boots. The way that these designers who are reintroducing these trends really get them out there, and the key commercialization of them is through celebrities. Celebrities are always trying to bring something new to the game, bring something new to their next event they're attending. And obviously there's many paparazzi there taking pictures of them, so it's easy for their fans to see what they're wearing and mimic it themselves. There's an algorithm also to predict the next trends or predict the trends that are occurring. Sarah Mower from Vogue magazine states that all you have to do is take today's date, 2016, and subtract the average age of these young designers introducing these trends, 25. This will lead you to the old year of the trend that is now popular, and it was once a counterculture trend. This is the best way possible to designers use to utilize the past trends and reintroduce them, because it's an old trend that was when they were a kid and they kind of got to witness it and see what it did to society, but they can change it and make it their own and make it for the masses and have become a huge success. Overall, the fashion industry, it's important to realize that the commercialization of these trends is taking away the original intention. So clothes that you're wearing today originally had a totally different meaning, or just a meaning in general. And now that we can, through music festivals, and fashion, we can see their pattern, we can predict the future. So we can predict the future mainstreams and countercultures from looking at all of these, because we get to see the pattern. We know how it works now. We've cracked the case. So countercultures of the future are predicted to be ones called greed busters. These are going to be people who are angered at and try to disassociate themselves from the financial industry. And it's also predicted that there are ones who just want to live through voluntary work. And there will be a counterculture of people who are obsessed with technology. All of these, I'm sure, make very clear sense to you all, because we can kind of see it now today and see, maybe even kind of see where they're going. But this provides insight for what lies ahead for us, and it's important to notice the pattern and predict the future to make sure we're always moving forward, not stuck in this backwards momentum that we have right now. So, how have countercultures of the past 5 decades moved into future mainstreams? Easy, through commercialization. All trends will eventually resurface as more popular ones. People who start these counterculture movements are almost always kids. The youth is predicting our future unknowingly. They are the original source of our mainstream trends, but they are not the ones responsible for our backwards momentum. That lies in our hands. So what we have to do is take a stand to stop this. Notice what is happening, notice the commercialization, and try and make a change. Try and learn the original intention of this trend that you're participating in. Rock and roll music fought against segregation, the hippies fought against war and materialism, and the grunge movement challenged the ideals of conformity. But the issue today is the meaning behind these counterculture trends that is drowned out in order to make it appealing to the masses. Our society is losing its ability to critique itself and learn the messages that these counterculture movements are trying to tell us. Now that we know the root of the problem, though, we can change it. We can learn and watch younger generations start future mainstream trends and learn from them, ensuring that we're living in a forward-moving society. So, now, how does this all impact me? Well, to say the least, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that America was letting such key aspects fade into commercialization. We must be aware. We must stay informed and pass the message on to others as well as future generations. Teach the side of history not being taught. Inform people on the counterculture side and what their beliefs and perspectives of past generations or even the counterculture of today and what they're trying to say. We have to teach people the dangers of commercialization and what it's doing to us. So now for my community outreach program, how I took all this information and put it into my community. Well, I wanted to figure out a way to incorporate this idea of learning from the countercultures, but also incorporate the trend of giving. And the best way I thought to do this was a clothing drive. I decided that trends are always going in and out of style, no matter what, and there's no stopping that, but there are over 15% of Americans who are living in poverty, who can't afford clothing, much less who are worrying about what's hitting the runway. So I got in touch with the Baldwin Center, a program in Pontiac, Michigan, whose mission is to help feed, clothe, educate, and empower men, women, and children of all ages in the Pontiac community. So the clothing that I was going to collect was going to go to these men, women, and kids. And what I did was I collected boxes and placed them put them in places that I had a connection with, such as Seaholm, Adat Shalom Synagogue, which is my synagogue, and Cornell Elementary School, which is the elementary school I attended. So I placed the boxes there and kind of let the project run its course. I encouraged people, I put signs up, told them about it, etc., etc. But the real goal of my drive was to not only provide clothing with people who couldn't afford it, but was to defeat the label. And what I mean by this is to teach people that the mainstream label doesn't matter. You shouldn't buy your clothes by what is seen as the mainstream, but rather what you truly like and a meaning of a clothing trend that you agree with. Not necessarily just the style of it, but what you find right in a clothing piece. You have to show people that they shouldn't care about where the clothes are from, but that they're lucky to have them and find something that really connects to them. So once my project was in motion, there wasn't much I could do. And this is also the poster that I put out everywhere. And as I was saying, once the project was going, there wasn't much I could do except encourage people. And then one day, my my 5th grade elementary school teacher asked me to come and speak to the kids at Corton, their 5th grade class, about my paper, my project, and why giving was important. So I went there and I did all of those things, and I really told them about why I needed their help, and because without them my project would have been nothing. and I encouraged them to donate as well as continue to give back after this. I told them about why community service was so important, but I also got to teach them what I really learned from this project was, and that was defeating the label. I encouraged them to continue to look at both sides, always look at both sides of things, and try and learn what their music or what their clothes really meant, learn what each trend was trying to say and what different youth movements are trying to say and how they can always stay informed. So this wasn't really initially part of my plan, but I'm so thankful that I did it because it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my entire big board research paper extravaganza. I also got to teach them, or after this, the pickup, I was very excited. I went to Seaholm and Adat Shalom, and both the bins were full, and I was very excited, to say the least, that I was able to do this. But then I went to Corton, and I was very overwhelmed because not only was the box I placed there full, but I couldn't even fit all the boxes into my car. I had to have someone come help me because there were so many. It was really overwhelming, but so rewarding. And after, I got to talk to the 5th grade class again, and it's just a thank you for all of their hard work. And they expressed to me how thankful they were and how they really wanted to continue giving back to their community. And they also discussed how in their classes they began to learn more of both sides of things and different perspectives, and how they truly wanted to defeat the label and not only wear the mainstream, but wear things that they really liked and learn what their clothing was trying to say or what their music was trying to get out. So next was going to the Baldwin Center, and this was a very rewarding experience as well because I got to not only see the people who worked at the Baldwin Center, how thankful they were for my donation, but I also got to see the people who would be wearing my clothes in person, and they were so thankful. They were so thankful for the whole clothing closet at the Baldwin Center, and it was truly just an amazing experience getting to watch how my whole clothing drive was going to impact the life of these people. So first, this is the kids at Corton, them donating the clothes they donated, boxing them up. And this is all the clothes in my garage. And so now, in conclusion, this was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't have changed any of it. I truly think I have a new perspective on trends and pop culture now because I know how important the history of it is and how important history in general is for our future. And I learned that youth movements are the ones starting these trends, and it's important to notice them and notice what they're trying to get at. Commercialization destroys the meaning of these trends, but my clothing drive was an attempt to stop this. It was to show people that they don't need to worry about the label that they're wearing, but merely enjoy what they're wearing or just be thankful to have it in general. I wanted to defeat what the mainstream was bringing to the table, which was your money. It was a step to take what the mainstream had to offer and learn from it. Learn from commercialization and try to maybe commercialize with the original intention within it, still holding the original history of each trend. It's important to focus on the meaning behind these clothes and behind other forms of pop culture and learn from their original intention. Learn what they represent, but don't let the label of a mainstream or even a counterculture run your wallet. Thank you so much for listening today.